We're here because the Institute of Metropolitan Stability has released a report. There's some attorneys at the University of Minnesota that have been working on researching Twin Cities communities and the effect of essentially racist lending practices on our Twin Cities communities.
Our report, the Institute of Metropolitan Opportunity, shows that the lack of access to credit continues to plague communities of color. Many of the conditions in the poor neighborhoods were created by the subprime crisis. Subprime lending was very concentrated in non-white neighborhoods in the Twin Cities.
In the past, I used to work for Wells Fargo. In my experience there, I kind of noticed there was a little disparity between some race they were offering people of color and Caucasians.
I'm a real estate investor. What happened to me as far as getting loans?
With Wells Fargo.
Oh, we can't deal with Wells Fargo. They won't give us a loan. So in turn, we deal with hard money lenders.
What does Wells Fargo tell you? That you're not qualified, or
we're not qualified. They don't support. They don't qualify small businesses. They don't deal with smaller businesses. Pretty much anything not to give us money. So we, like I said, we deal with hard money lenders. Which is actually paying a lot more than you would with a bank or institution.
What the report shows very clearly is big banks like Wells Fargo, their home loan office based right here in Minneapolis, is redlining communities of color. That's a practice that goes way back in this country. Denying access to credit for communities of color, African Americans in particular, is not a new phenomenon in America or even in Minneapolis. But what this report shows is that redlining is alive and well, and in fact, in some ways, it's worse than it's ever been. I'd like to first introduce Ruby Brown. She's a NOC member, a board member, and has fought to keep her house in North Minneapolis. In fact, she had to fight for 2 years to keep her house from a big bank, in her case, Bank of America, that refused to modify her loan, refused to refinance her loan, and it took a national campaign to keep her in her home. We think that's wrong, it's unjust. We're thankful Ruby's in the house and in the community, but we shouldn't have to have a national campaign to make that work.
Wells Fargo is one of the biggest mortgage handlers in this country, and we stand here asking them to do the right thing. Do the right thing. Keep people in their homes. Stop these illegal practices. It is still going on, and we have to take a stand. So with 15 million people that have lost their house or in foreclosure, you know somebody. Right. So I ask you if you would band with us and take a stand and say, let's do the right thing. You know, the American way, the American dream is to be a homeowner.
Even high-income and very high-income whites were 1.8 to 2.9 times as likely to receive a subprime loan in majority non-white neighborhoods. In Minneapolis, the Near North and Camden neighborhoods were the most dramatically affected, and financial institutions today continue to fail to provide their fair share of mortgage loans for communities of color, loans that are almost exclusively today prime mortgages. Although most mortgage lenders of every size in the Twin Cities have a poor track record lending to communities of color, disparities with the largest lenders have the greatest impact. The region's largest lender, Wells Fargo, accounted by itself for almost 1/4 of the lending shortfalls in the region's racially diverse and predominantly non-white neighborhoods.
To find out that it's still going on now, yeah, I'm angry, but I'm also ashamed and I'm embarrassed, and it's what's going on here. This is our chance to turn up the heat now on all of us and say, let's get our act together, and let's get it together now and fix this problem. This isn't the Minneapolis we want for the future.
I can tell you what I think, though, which is that I think banks have not done enough. The question is, how can we use this now as a point to ask more questions, to create more leverage, to create the change that we know needs to happen, to heal our communities and make us be the Minneapolis we want to be.
You know, Anthony's right. I mean, we have to really address this issue and make it an issue of equity that actually means something and not just talk about it as lip service. So, you know, looking at other jurisdictions to see what they've done and, you know, figure out what we can do here in Minneapolis, but specifically for North Minneapolis and Ward 5, I mean, we need to address this issue. So.
Like Martin Luther King and the Civil Rights Movement talked about, a beloved community. A community where everybody knows that there's a place for them. Big
big banks have a long history of racial redlining, denying credit, denying the beloved community and neighborhoods that are made up predominantly of people of color. Now, I know Martin Luther King talked about a beloved community. I've heard a lot said lately about one Minneapolis. One Minneapolis means everybody has a place. Everybody has an opportunity. Everybody has access to equity. Stand together, let's fight. Let's make sure one Minneapolis and a beloved community for all of Minneapolis. Thank you.